Developer Valles is diving headfirst into roguelike territory with the release Hotel Barcelona, a 2.5D action game that's as chaotic as its creative duo, Swery and Suda51. Published by Cult Games and set to launch in 2025 for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC via Steam, the game delivers a blood-soaked genre-blending experience that we got to explore firsthand during GDC 2025. After going hands-on with the game, we were able to sit down with Swery to better understand the madness behind the design. Hotel Barcelona is set in a luxurious hotel on the border of Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and it just so happens that this town is now home to America's most twisted serial killers. You play as Justine, a novice federal marshal hosting a second identity, the serial killer, Dr. Carnival. It's a setup that allows for plenty of thematic layering, and according to Swery, that's intentional. As he tells us, Justine isn't just fighting killers, she's fighting the monster inside her too. During gameplay, players will move through 7 distinct zones within the hotel, each inspired by different horror movies and designed to reflect unique aesthetics and boss encounters. These levels are meant to feel standalone, reflecting Swery and Suda51's collaborative approach to horror homage. Swery tells us that this game was born out of Suda51's crazy ideas, and then he added his own crazy ideas. And as he puts it, we kept stacking crazy on top of crazy, so it became this chaos, too chaotic to even put into words. The game's standout mechanic is the Phantom Slasher system, which lets players fight alongside ghostly echoes of their previous runs. The Phantom Slasher mechanic, where your character from a previous run shows up in the next run, doesn't really exist in other games, Swery explained. So at first I thought, can we even do this? But when I talked to the programmer, he said, yeah, I think we can make this happen. Though the idea was a challenge to implement, Swery stood by the result. It was definitely a tough process to make it exactly how I envisioned it, he said, but I'm really glad I pushed for it. It turned out great. After being able to try the system myself, it's clear that it does add a layer of depth not commonly seen in roguelikes. The Phantom assists in battle, replicating previous attacks and serving as both a decoy and offensive ally, worked incredibly well in practice. But I found it demanding that players maintain a consistent pace across runs to fully benefit from the Phantom's attacks. This does become trickier as difficulty scales with each loop. The game rewards aggression. As you tear through enemies, Justine absorbs their blood, which powers up her stats and unlocks devastating attacks like the Carnival Awakening. It was explained that the game is like a buffet of violence. Keep eating or go hungry. Combat hits a little hard, but also brings a little bit of friction. Dodging felt slightly underdeveloped in the current build, with attack telegraphs needing sharper clarity. During our session, mistimed dodges were frequent due to unclear enemy cues, and the inability to cancel out of heavier attacks made some fights more punishing than expected. That said, the varying attack speeds based on enemy type felt appropriate, but animations could use smoothing to better support the game's reactive demands. Further, enemy encounters are pretty challenging, but the feedback loop between defeating them and what you're rewarded with could be more apparent. Especially for a roguelike, the moment-to-moment gains and what you carry over into future runs should be communicated clearly to the player. End-of-run screens were somewhat ambiguous, making it hard for me to evaluate progress between attempts. For Swery, Hotel Barcelona was a way for him to reconnect with his friend Suda51 on a new project. He told us that, yes, this time especially, it's really a dream collaboration with his senior in the industry, and that Suda51 is someone that he really expects. I did manage to ask him if he was aware of the risk behind such an unconventional genre, and he didn't hesitate to say, yeah, I definitely understand it's a risk, but Hotel Barcelona, at this point, is the best game I've made in my career. Despite the ambition, Swery remains grounded about how his role in the indie scene came to be. I kind of just fell into being an icon, he recalled. Back in 2010, before I released Deadly Premonition, I only had 6 followers on Twitter, but after the launch, within the next week, I checked and I had over 100 followers, all posting English comments that I couldn't read at the time. He continued to say that for a second he thought, am I being hacked right now? But someone told him that they were positive tweets, and he's been motivated ever since. Although his creative energy remains focused on Hotel Barcelona for now, Swery isn't done taking risks. There are still so many games I want to create in my lifetime. I'm always thinking about making something new, he said, but when it comes down to choosing what game to make next, I think it really depends on the timing, on what feels right for me and for the world at the moment. That's my lifestyle. I create based on my feeling and timing. I'm not really sure what's next, but I think that's what makes it most exciting. How do you feel about this chaotic collaboration? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned to Noisy Pixel for more coverage on Hotel Barcelona.
Noisy Pixel.